This must be the place. Professor Oubier's house.
Looks pretty creepy. I'd been away from Paris and hadn't seen Nico for nearly 6 months. I wanted to celebrate our reunion, but she had other plans. An appointment with an archaeologist. Something to do with a Mayan stone she came across while researching a story. The guy who answered the door didn't look much like an archaeologist to me. I had a bad feeling about this. Three things I didn't like about spiders. The way they looked, the way they moved, and the fact that they lived on the same planet as me. This spider was big, mean, and hairy, and definitely not a native of Europe. I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders While Tied to a Chair. No such luck. But I noticed one corner of the bookcase was supported by a loose block of wood. The block of wood had been used to replace the original foot of the bookcase. Maybe I'd been a little heavy-handed, but it was a question of survival. Of course, I was still tied to a chair in a burning house with no means of escape. The bookcase had been anchored to the wall by a protruding metal bracket. It had sheared off as the bookcase had fallen, leaving a jagged edge. With one mighty bound, our hero was free. Now, I had to deal with that fire. It was the chair I'd been tied to. The rope was shredded and no possible use to me. The rope was shredded and no possible use to me. Yellow pus was seeping from below the bookcase. That spider was very squashed. I wasn't touching that spider goo. Even if I had the time, I wouldn't be able to get to the books beneath the heavy case. The bookcase had fallen on its front, making it impossible to reach the books inside. Oubier and his wife, I guess. Nice couple. It was an oddly designed candle holder with a coil of metal shaped like a snake. Highly artistic, but of very little practical use. The bureau had a sliding lid. Inside, I found a bottle of tequila. It was a half bottle of extra strong Mexican tequila. Just what I needed under the circumstances. Normally, I didn't drink strong spirits, but today was far from normal. Ew. Disgusting. Not only did the tequila burn like hell, I just managed to stop myself from swallowing the worm. What looked like a little shriveled wiener lay on the carpet. Thankfully, it was only the worm from the tequila bottle. Well, I wasn't going to eat it, but life had taught me one thing. No matter how unlikely it seems, the strangest objects have their uses. Even tequila worms. I'd drunk enough of that. The bars attached to the window would prevent anyone getting in. They also stopped me from getting out. I wasn't going to get through those sturdy bars. It was Nico's bag. It was a stylish little canvas number containing a lipstick, a handwritten note, and a pair of nylon panties with a large love heart emblazoned across the front. It occurred to me that Nico's tastes must have really changed while I was away. Well, they could be useful. It was a needle-sharp dart with a flight of green and yellow feathers. That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end, but this didn't deter me from getting it anyway. This window had bars too. The room was a prison. It was the box that spider had crawled from. I wasn't going to touch the box after that spider had been inside it. The fire had taken hold and ignited part of the polished wooden floorboards. It was a soda fountain, perfect for mixing with drinks or squirting at clowns. There was no pressure in the siphon. I guess it was out of gas. In the cabinet's wooden door was a very small keyhole. The door blocked my only means of escape. It was the poisoned dart which had stung Nico. I'd never known anything keep her quiet so effectively. It was that itsy-bitsy tequila worm. I really must remember to take it out of my pants before I send them to the laundry. It was Nico's lipstick. It wasn't my color, and it reminded me of clowns. I guess I had no business reading the note, but I figured it might give me a clue to what Nico was involved in. It was from Andre Lobineau, the history student Nico had known at college. The letter was sentimental mush, and revealed that the exotic lingerie, as he called it, was a gift from him. It gave his telephone number. Lobineau figured himself as a rival for Nico's affections, but I couldn't believe that that creep was in the running. It was a pair of red, lace-trimmed panties decorated with a large black satin heart. As I released the lock, something blew the doors open. It was a small metal cylinder. It was a small cylinder which seemed to have exploded. I couldn't think of a use for a burst cylinder. That cylinder was hot. I couldn't pick it up with my bare hands. The panties I'd found in Nico's bag were just what I needed to wrap around the hot cylinder. The cylinder gave out a faint hiss as the valve opened.
Huh?
Now I had one primed up and ready to use extinguisher. With a well-aimed squirt of his soda fountain, our unshakable hero saved the day. Now it was time to start looking for Nico. I wasn't going to burn myself on that red-hot doorknob, and it wasn't the time for subtlety. It was a folded clipping taken from a newspaper. I'd found a piece of newspaper folded in two. It referred to a forthcoming eclipse of the sun. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be visible from Europe. The best place to view the eclipse would be Mexico. It was Ubier's telephone. Much as I disliked him, Labano might be my only hope of finding Nico. Hi, Andre?
Who is this?
It's George Stobart, Nico's boyfriend.
Don't you mean ex-boyfriend?
Look, I didn't call you just to pick a fight. I need to talk to you about Nico.
Can't you accept she's just not interested in you?
Listen, Andre, we need to talk. Nico's life depends on it.
Okay. You remember the cafe at Montfaucon?
Sure. Andre? You better show, you creep. I felt an irrational urge to wipe my ear. The door led to some other part of Ubier's mansion. It was locked. The front door was made of hard wood, supported by a sturdy frame. The door was locked. I didn't fancy my chances of kicking this door down. The tiny point was only of use for picking small locks. In the drawer was a small decorated pot. The pot contained a key. The red and yellow pot had black decorative markings shaped like hands. Weird mutant hands, that is. I unlocked the door. I wasn't looking forward to meeting Labino again, but he was my only link with Nico. There was no sign of Labino when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for him. Oh, garçon. He ignored me. I'm sure it was deliberate. It was too hot to sit inside the cafe. Besides, I might miss Labino. It was too hot to sit. The man at the next table looked somehow familiar. Pardon me, but don't I know you?
Huh?
You were here the day I found the catacombs.
I was? Ah, yes. I remember you.
Yeah. Are you still in the police force?
No, not anymore. I'm a man of leisure. And what brings you back to Paris?
I'm waiting for an acquaintance.
Bon. And you have found another. Will you share a bottle of wine with me?
Hey, listen, I'd love to, but I need to keep a clear head.
So my company isn't good enough for you.
Why did you leave the police?
I was forced to retire. The golden handshake. Only in my case, it was more copper than gold.
How come?
I was made a scapegoat to cover up the department's inefficiencies.
Have you ever heard of a Professor Oubier?
No, monsieur. I don't recall the name.
Well, apparently he's an expert on Mayan art and history.
A little out of my field of experience, monsieur. If he'd been a serial killer or a sodomite, I might have been able to help.
What do you make of this dart?
I remember a case where the victim was killed with just such a device. The poison acted in seconds, causing his body to swell up like an inflatable life raft.
What do you make of this news cutting?
Orphanage supplied fast food chain?
No, it's the article above that.
Oh! Total eclipse of the sun. Well, that's very dull in comparison. I don't know anything about eclipses.
Tell me what you make of this note.
From my years of experience, I gained a pretty good insight into handwriting. I'd say that note was written by a compulsive, obsessive type with an Oedipus complex.
Hey, you got just about everything apart from the ponytail. It was a small silver flask from which the man was topping up his glass. Hey, you.
What?
I'd like a cup of coffee if you don't mind.
When I finish serving this gentleman.
The waiter's stained and crumpled clothes looked as if they'd been slept in. I decided not to bother with a meal.
Un café.
Thanks. What does that guy keep pouring out of this flask?
Absinthe.
Absinthe? I thought that was highly dangerous and outlawed in France.
It is. Don't look at me, I didn't sell it to him.
Do you know a guy called André Labino?
Oui, I know him. What of it?
I'm supposed to meet him here. Did I miss him?
No, I have not seen him today.
Have you heard of Professor Oubier?
Oui. He married that actress, the little dachshund. They used to come here, the nutty professor and the movie star.
If Oubier's wife was a movie star, how come I never heard of her?
She was big in France. The world doesn't stop at Hollywood. Her stage name was Carol Climax. She died in suspicious circumstances.
How did Ubier's wife die?
I heard he shot her.
And got away with it?
He had a good lawyer and a watertight alibi.
Why would an eminent public figure like Ubier risk everything for murder?
He wouldn't be the first, would he? Besides, people like him always get off.
Do you know that man over there?
I should think so. He's a regular customer.
Look at this. A poison dart.
Ah oui, sure.
It's the real thing. Knocked my girlfriend out cold in a matter of seconds.
Romantic. Sounds like a real close relationship you have going.
That's all.
Thank you.
Well, this is a surprise, Georgie.
I wouldn't normally call you. But Nico's in trouble, Andre. Deep trouble. You have to help me find her.
What? What have you dragged her into this time?
It was you that recommended Professor Ubier as an expert on Mayan art. Now his butler has kidnapped her, and he tried to kill me.
Every time she gets involved with you, there is trouble. Walking out on her was the best thing you could do.
My father was dying, damn it. I had no choice.
Well, she soon recovered once she went back to her old friends.
Drop it, Andre. Right now, Nico's in danger, and we have to work together.
So, how can I help?
Nico needed to speak to Ubier about a stone.
Oh, you mean this stone?
So that's what all the trouble's about.
Precisely. Nicole told me to guard it with my life.
Well, it's worth more than that, surely.
Oh, very funny.
What's funny is that your life really is on the line.
What are you talking about?
The stone is a Mayan artifact, dummy. And the guy who kidnapped Nico was from Central America. It was the stone they were after.
Oh my god, you mean I could be in danger too?
What do you suppose the carving on the stone means?
I don't know. I haven't shown it to anyone.
Why don't you just give it to me?
I don't want your death on my conscience, George.
Where did Nico get the stone?
It was sent to her.
From where? Who?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Oh, you should.
It was something to do with smuggling.
Why didn't Nico take the stone to Ubier?
I don't know. Perhaps she suspected something like this would happen.
If she's been hurt, Andre, I'll break every bone in your body.
No, that's typical of you. Do you think I don't care what happens to Nicole?
It occurred to me that slugs don't have bones to break, but I kept that thought to myself. Tell me about your friend Ubier.
He's more of a professional acquaintance than a friend.
I see. So you don't really know him at all?
No, I don't.
Does Ubier employ a guy from Central America?
Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think this is, Andre?
I don't know.
I'll give you a clue. It's got more backbone than you.
You think you're amusing, don't you?
What can you tell me about this pot?
South or Central American, I'd say. I have a friend who'd be able to tell you more.
Where can I find this guy?
He owns a gallery on the left bank. The Gliese Gallery.
See you later.
Goodbye, Georgie.
I've had enough of your games, Kala. Tell me what you've done with my stone.
I thought your business was simply smuggling cocaine, Karzak. Why are you so interested in that stone?
Either you tell me what I want to know, or Pablo here will make you talk.
Okay. Well, I figured someone at the university would be able to help. So I had a word with one of my girlfriends, and she told me her boyfriend was a lecturer. I sent the stone to the Department of Ethnology. You know, I figured it was South American, so... You're not buying this, are you?
That's enough! I don't have time to listen to your mindless prattle. We'll leave you to think it over. Come the morning, you'll be ready to talk.
Do you miss being a gendarme?
Yes, of course I do. When I wore that uniform, I commanded respect. Not anymore.
The ex-gendarme showed no effects from the wine he was pouring down his throat. I was sure I'd asked for cream in my coffee, but he'd brought me black. The coffee was very bitter and only lukewarm. There was also an unpleasant coagulated lump at the bottom of the cup. Excuse me.
What?
Didn't you try to appeal against your dismissal?
There was no point. It was my word against that of the chief inspector. And he was a close friend of the director of the museum I was supposed to be patrolling.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
You need anything else?
There's something incubating in the bottom of my cup, garçon.
You asked for it. That's the cream.
But it's all in one lump.
No problem. I'll bring you a fork.
Forget it. That's all.
Thank you.
I couldn't snatch the man's flask while he was looking. It was a small silver flask from which the man was topping up his glass. Excuse me.
What?
Which museum was it you were supposed to be patrolling?
The croon. It wasn't as if anything important was stolen. Just a rusty old tripod.
The tripod had returned a few weeks later. Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
I grabbed the flask and was struck by a powerful smell of absinthe, a highly potent and illegal alcoholic drink. Excuse me.
What?
Ever heard of Carol Climax, the movie star?
Yes, but I don't care for the kind of movie she's made. It's smut like that which has caused the moral decline of the Western world.
Is it true that Carol Climax was murdered by her husband?
First I heard of it. I thought she just retired.
I'm trying to find my girlfriend. She's been kidnapped.
Kidnapped?
Yeah, it was our first day back together after many months.
That's too bad. My God, that's depressing.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
It was the flask of absinthe I'd borrowed from the gendarme. I don't think so. Excuse me.
What?
I've been looking forward to seeing my girl, but she wanted to rush off to see some professor.
I see. And you think she's having an affair with this professor?
Look, forget it. It doesn't matter. What's that you're drinking?
It's wine.
The waiter said it's absinthe.
That fool wouldn't know Pernod from cat's piss.
You need anything else?
There was nothing I wanted to say to him. Now I had another lead. I could either go back to Ubier's house or visit the Gliese Gallery. The Gliese Gallery had style and class, but very few customers.